Hi, good day everyone. I'm Pastor Joey Geronimo. Out of my many mistakes in parenting, let me share to you one in which I placed my own reputation as a pastor ahead of the feelings of my own children. One time when my son was still in college and he came home, and we were all surprised in the house because he was sporting this brand new Mohawk style of haircut. And I resisted reacting immediately. And so I remembered what Pastor Peter has been always reminding us, that when we're emotional or when we're angry, not to open our mouth. And so I did that, and I processed the whole thing. And the next day, I talked to him. However, I think my face revealed my disapproval and my disappointment during that time. And so the next day, I talked to him and asked him, "Son, why did you do this? Why did you have that kind of a haircut?" And he said that he goes to college only once, and this is the only time in his life that he can do this. And when he starts working, he cannot do this anymore. And so I reminded him, I said, "Don't you realize, son, that as a pastor of CCF, we are encouraged to be very visible in church. And part of that being visible is for us to sit in front." And during that time, we were still worshiping in St. Francis Square. And I said, and I asked him, "Don't you realize that, when people see us and they would wonder, what kind of a parent am I in raising you up? Why I would allow this kind of a haircut?" And I thought that I handled that pretty well because I didn't raise my voice, I didn't get angry. During that same week, we had our pastors meeting, and I shared this to the whole group of pastors, including Pastor Peter, and I asked him, "Pastor Peter, what do you think of what I did?" And I even resisted reacting, getting angry, and so I processed it. And so I processed it for one day, and then I talked to him after that. And the first thing that he told me is that, "Joey, you should have processed it much, much longer." He also gave me a proper perspective of not focusing on externals, the haircut, the clothing, but focus on the heart. And he asked me, "Joey, is your son in a D group?" And I said, "Yes, Pastor Peter." And he continued to ask, he said, "Is your son involved in a ministry?" And I proudly told him, "Yes, Pastor Peter, he's very active in the campus ministry in Ateneo." And he said, "Then what are you so concerned about? What are you so worried about?" Then he said that you should focus on the heart and not on externals. And then he also told me that my motive should not be on protecting my reputation as a pastor or thinking about what people will think of me or say of me, but to focus on the feelings of my children. That whole experience taught me a very powerful lesson. So that same day, I went home and I asked forgiveness from my son in front of my wife and my daughter. And I also learned from that experience that our children do not expect us to be perfect. They know that we will commit mistakes. And if we are willing to admit to them that we made a mistake and we humbly ask them for forgiveness, they will forgive us. And so I hope this brief sharing of mine has allowed you to understand a little bit better how to raise up a child, a son, towards Christ likeness by focusing on the heart. God bless everyone.